Look into how people evaluated from a kind of a monkey to a less monkey to a human to... That is what Darwinist biologists would do if they studied the species mankind. They say, no. It might look like that. You might look like somebody which is... No, it's one entity. We appear to be one entity. But they say that's not how it operates. If you want to understand how mankind operates, you'll have to go down to the level of cells and interacting cells. Now that is the big innovation, if you want to, that Maturana and Varela has brought to biology. Once they started looking into systems like the body from an autopoietic system, they have observed that an autopoietic system has three characteristics. One, an autopoietic system reproduces itself. It's reproductive each time, over and again, continuously. Second is it not only self-produces, it self-organizes. It auto-organizes, what we already found in physics. That means that our body, you don't have to control that. It is completely self-regulated. If you cut here, the body is going to organize itself in such a way that it sends something there to stop the bleeding. You don't do that. Your body does that. It's self-organized. What is intelligence? Intelligence is not located in the brain. Intelligence is distributed through the whole body. Intelligence is not in the management of a company. Intelligence is distributed through the whole company, or it is not there. Okay? So, a company, so a body is reproducing, a company is reproducing itself. It is going to try to reproduce itself, to reproduce the people, to have other people of the same type, of the same function, invariably of what you as a manager decide. A body is self-organized, a company is self-organized. You can try and organize any company, there will always be a so-called informal organization. And it is the informal organization, the self-organization, that is going to manage your company. The more you try to crack the self-organization, the more you're going to kill your company. As a manager, what you should do is you have to try and foster the self-organization and make the self-organization the official organization. If you arrive doing that, you really might be a successful manager. Thirdly, third characteristic of an autopoietic system, an autopoietic system has only one aim, and that is survival. The body is going to do everything with one aim, is surviving. If you cut your arm, it is going to try and concentrate the blood around the heart in order to avoid that you die. The company has exactly the same behavior. You can never motivate a body for anything else than for survival. You can never motivate a company for anything else than for survival. Autopoiesis takes place within the concept of enacted cognition, that I will explain in a minute, and the embodied mind. The embodied mind, as he explained, is the idea that the brain, the mind, is literally embodied, is literally distributed. That's what I said earlier when I spoke about autopoiesis. Now, enacted cognition pinpoints the exact idea of the Machado poem. Cognition is something which is enacted. It doesn't exist. You lay it down by walking. You create cognition by working. You only learn from discourse, from what I tell you, if there is alongside projects to be done, which makes you reflect on what I'm saying. And it is that reflection that is going to allow you to learn. Now, enaction, as Varela said in his video, has two components: action and creation, action and shaping. An actor enacts a play. An actor doesn't play a play. An actor becomes. If you ask an actor to play Hamlet, he does not play Hamlet, he becomes Hamlet. So an enacted cognition has always two components: action and creation. If there is not both components, there is no cognition. If there is repetition, there is no cognition. If there is no action, there is no cognition. Now that's extremely important. If there is no cognition, I can replace you by a machine. We talk about artificial intelligence next time. But if there is no cognition, if there is no action and creation, a machine will always do better than you. To continue first with autopoiesis. The most famous people that have worked around autopoiesis and radical constructivism. Philosophically, the epistemology and ontology that is behind autopoiesis is called radical constructivism. It's not that important, but it means people like Maturana, Varela and Mingers. Mingers is an interesting guy. Drop Gödel. That's too difficult to explain what he's doing there. Mingers is a guy who works at Warwick Business School. And he is working in operations management. And he did lots of research about logistics and operations management and how logistics and operations management systems are autopoietic. And what the consequences are of the fact that even those logistic processes are autopoietic. So in other words, how could you alternatively organize logistics? In essence, it's a mechanistic way of interaction. Okay? What autopoiesis says, it is only the interaction of all those cells that makes your behavior. If I think about thinking, it is indeed the interaction of the billions of neurons that make the quality of my thinking. It is the interaction. There is nowhere memory, there is nowhere causality, it's just interaction. Our body is pure interaction of cells. Something which is important, and I'm sorry for the difficult word, but I didn't want to skip it, at least you know that word too. Any explanation of living systems, whether it's you, whether it's an organization, whether it are animals, whether it is whatever that lives, everything where people are involved lives, okay? Any explanation of a living system should be non-teleological. That means it should have no resource, no relationship to idea of purpose, goal, ends, or whatever. You cannot, for a living system, decide a final goal. Since you're never going to reach that. The system is going to lay down the path in walking. So any purpose of a company, if you want to understand the company, should be non-teleological. Should not be goal-oriented. Now that's a very difficult one, since that's what we do in business. If you understand an autopoietic functioning of the system, you should never have a goal. A goal in the sense of, that is what I want to reach. And make the difference between a goal and a vision. Okay? It's a big difference. Good? Now, I spoke in the very first course about Gödel. Recall when I spoke about self-reference. And I already mentioned that I'm going to say it again. Any living system is autopoietic, but any autopoietic system is circular and self-referring. The organization is closed, and I refer to the immune system and I refer to a social system. The autopoietic concept of an organization is my body is closed, and if I leave it closed like that, it is going to tackle all the problems itself. So you shouldn't give drugs to a body. The body is going to auto-organize itself in order to tackle any attack from a bacteria or whatever. If you're going to disbalance the self-organization, then it might cause other diseases afterwards to come. It is, of course, that's a slide I used in the first course. It describes constructivism. I'm not going to repeat it. Right? So beliefs and theories are purely human constructs which constitute rather than reflect reality. So you're making reality while you're making the theory. Right? And that is what is called